good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. I hope you are incredible today. So, this is the day that I dedicate all my resources to getting the algorithm built and ready. It is hella frustrating checking the phone and seeing that things are starting to decline, but don't close it and take the kids to school to come back. And instead of being up 1,000, going down 100, or well, maybe I shouldn't get too upset. $25. Okay, so it's my light motivation then to get my algorithm up and running today, but it is super aggravating going up there, watching it bob towards 1,000, having the target extended to the top, and then watching it go, oh yes, looking good, 1,100, or back down to 800, or no, 600, and then bang, taken out at entry. Right, so no stop loss hit in terms of where the stop loss would have been, which is okay. So I'm not down 1,000 or something to that effect, but minus 25 instead of plus 1,000 is quite aggravating. And again, this is the kind of thing that makes someone reactive and in a state of fight or flight when having an open position. And it's not to say I'm a bad guy, because what I did was got the kids showered and ready for school, dropped them off at school, came back, opened the screens, and then felt that regret. Instead of putting myself first or my trade first, putting the family first, is kind of what transpired over here. However, that's not living, right? When you want to get into a state of financial freedom and have the markets work for you instead of the other way around, these are the kind of factors that infiltrate your day in the real world. And unfortunately, you can't always just pull the car off onto the side of the road, whip your laptop out, connect to the internet, hoping that it all comes together in that process, and then close your trade according to your updated setup and so forth. You got to have systems support you whilst you're unable to do all of the above mentioned. Just for a laugh, by the way, I just see this now. Looking at the internet, you often see I think, I really don't know the name. I haven't got space in my brain for that kind of stuff anyway. There's something called like an upward pendant, or I don't know, something to that effect. It's almost like a triangle that's shaped that way. And according to the internet, that's when you see a bullish move break out. And this is another clear example as to why I don't believe in those rubber shapes, because look at that result. Okay. So whatever's happening, someone somewhere has got a heavy hand. I'm going to really look at the chart to see if I can find a symmetrical triangle, as that's something that could be what transpired. If it's not the case, then yeah, these big wicks are quite irritating, to be honest with you. To get to my point once more, it's best to have support systems in your corner. To that, I guess what I want to speak about with regards to the latest AI update from ChatGPT is that they've now made their ChatGPT 4 free. Okay, so it's the latest models, but free to use for anyone. Pardon me. So the reason why that's relevant is because what I think is best in terms of a position closing bot or position closing strategy might not be something that everyone agrees with, and for that reason, who cares, right? You can build it yourself now. I just want to go into ChatGPT to see whether or not they've got the latest model. Hopefully, none of my personal information's here. That's fine. Let's go have a look. This is my free account. I got a paid account and a free account. Okay, so ChatGPT 3.5 is over there. ChatGPT 4 available to upgrade, but I don't need to do that. Of course, I've got the upgrade. But basically, to free users, anyone can log in and ask any AI model. There's also Llama 3, which is pretty good and free and open source. That's by Meta. Then there's also a few other good ones. There's Claude's got a free model and so on and so forth. And you can go to these pretty intelligent setups and ask them to write code for you now. So if you're someone who has been feeling a bit restricted in the past in terms of having the ability to code, if in TradingView or if in MetaTrader is a lot harder because it's a lot older, just by the way, and so on and so forth. I encourage you to begin that process, because you can now build the tools you need to support you instead of having to go out onto the internet and hope someone's done a good job, believe in their product, and maybe it doesn't work for you. So with that said, I'm building my position closing bot so that I can be protected whilst being a father. What could happen here, by the way, in terms of the market, is it could keep on going up, but it's one of those things that one does. All right, so what do I mean by that? Let me just have a quick look at my demo account to see if this is still open, just for an example to the next point. Yeah, or no. Where's my stop loss? Let's have a look. Okay, I don't see any closed positions. I see plus 2,000 here. Now I'm confused. I've got a 3,000 win, a 2,000 win. Oh, damn. And then that minus one was, I've spoken to that with regards to the other day. No open trades. So basically what I did here was I got in with the 1:1 ratio. So put my stop loss. Oh. Guys who are on their Mac, MetaTrader is not designed for Mac. What's the word? Originally, it's not native. It's not native to Mac, so you have to use something called a wine. In my case, it's 64 architecture. So the wine wraps it in so that you can use this. So sometimes if it's not immediately responsive, what I simply do is I close it and open up again. And then you'll see the click and drag facility is available. So I got in at the trade around about, which would have been a bit closer, I think, for some reason. I don't know why the trade closed, to be honest with you. It's quite confusing. But somehow it closed itself for 2,000 profit. But what I would like to talk about with regards to that is the difference of changing your strategy once the trade is open. Now, when you're trading with the demo account, whatever, right? The money doesn't really matter. It's just pretty to see some wins, and you work on your skill and you get your experience up. So it's not as nerve-wracking, and you're less responsive to it, and you're less attached to all of that stuff. So you just allow the market to do its thing. And for that reason, I closed a profitable trade somehow over there. But what I did with my paid account is that, the account that has consequence, is I moved my stop loss up to where my entry point was. Okay. And then also I moved my target further so I could earn more and also be protected against the downside. Now, in this crumbling market condition, that didn't work out for me. So I got stopped out at the entry, and I missed out on the $1,000 profit, which would have been good for the account. And now I've got a closed position for minus 25, and I've kind of lost time along the way. As it takes time for us to reach targets. So I've lost time as well. So that's the difference between the two, is that when you got an account with consequence, a lot of traders, including myself, get overly involved. So we move the stop loss to entry, which is good practice, just by the way, and then extend our targets, missing out on a closed profitable trade, and instead walking away with something there to break even. So that's just a live example of what it's like to be trading on the markets with real money versus demo account money, because the mind and the psychology of trading kind of muddles what is best practice. And best practice is to allow the market to do the work for you. Less than best practice is to get overly involved and then kind of regret it. However, with the market, you can see some weird behavior transpire. And for those reasons, I suppose it is better to have a trade closed at near break even instead of just it running all the way down or doing something quite unpredictable and then suffering for it. Okay, so that's the trading element. Let's get into charting. Quite simply put, I am quite frustrated by what just transpired. The market seems to be wanting to get into this position. Speaking to that effect, when you get into a position, ideally quite close to the actual turning point itself, these kind of things can happen. And the reason for it is that it's trying to secure its travel, it's the route that it will route that it wants to travel forward. And because of its close proximity from its turning point, the nodal point, it can do a bit more of a dramatic move instead of something that's more sustainable and bankable, something you can lean back into and feel confident about. So this tiny little wick here on the 512 is almost irrelevant because stop loss would have been back here for trading this higher chart, and the market's just going to do its thing. So the question over here is this still the way forward? It's always difficult to tell when the price action is close to the turning point because it's making its decisions over here. Once we got some clarification, then that becomes a lot more bankable. So just keep in mind that the initial trades over here, although you're getting in at a lower price or a price that is further away from your target, so ultimately you could be earning more, it does come with its risk. And as you saw in my live example, that's what can unfortunately happen in the real world. Okay, so over here, let me just have a look at the 1 to 8. Turning point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 looks good for our market structure. 6, wildcard 7 is trying to happen, and then 8, 9, and 10 will continue. Now, for the reason of that happening, in other words, the oscillator switching, I do think it's worth putting down the setup to the other side to see what it looks like if it was to go down, as when I put my mouse there and I see that line that automatically comes up, what I'm seeing here, let me just zoom in, is a double top potentially. As you can tell, I'm a lot more bright-eyed and bushy-tailed today. Mother's Day, we had some wine, and I still think I'm able to handle like a 20-year-old, but no, Monday was very difficult for me. So there's your double top right there, and that's something to keep an eye out on. And that double top could mean that we could see a change in direction, which will be quite interesting here for the 512. So high risk conditions by the looks of it. Yeah, it's super motivating for me to get onto my closing position algorithm today so that I can close for at least a $800 out of $1,000 position instead of have an extended hopeful target that doesn't get met. Instead, closing for break even, at least it would have had a good $800 out of the potential $1,000 that I was initially after, instead of having a bit of egg on the face. So yeah, that's my day today. I'm going to be focusing on that solely because of this event. And again, guys, if you want to build your own position closes and such, now is the time. You've got free LLMs, you've got free AI models at your disposal who are very knowledgeable and getting smarter by the day. And you don't need to worry about being a novice at coding because you live in the day and age where there's not necessarily a major drawback anymore. Okay, this is that beautiful point where we've got two options, either up or down. So is that a decision point? Higher risk. What I don't want to do is open up a position to the downside and then a climb and take me out of my trade on the stop loss, or go to the upside and it merely goes across more and then goes down. So when you see these two options, it pretty much nullifies either trade. And because I've just experienced what it's like to happen, or what it's like to have during a higher risk period, I am a little bit shy to open up a new trade right now, so therefore won't be trading this myself. I want to be as transparent as I can with you guys during this process because things are frustrating. Emotions do get involved, and there are these weird long wicks that kind of happen when you spot these candles. They kind of have boom, followed by consolidation, followed by a big wick, and then followed on its way down. And it's just a part of trading. Now, for those who don't have an open trade, who don't necessarily have their skin in the game, and they're just sideline observers, they won't get the kind of experience that you guys are getting by having that experience on the field. So even if you're using a paper account, guys, please gain your experience, add towards your 10,000 hours, because as soon as you get that out the way, which is just a normal requirement by all industries to become a pro at something, the sooner you are to being financially free or financially reliant on markets and markets alone, instead of having 3 jobs and stress and bills and watching a world kind of collapsing around you and all that weird stuff. As I've made mention to a few times, what my belief is that markets will always be around. I don't think there's going to be a day where all the markets around the world just switch off. And I believe this to be true because the 0.001% have a ton of capital in the markets. And because they have invested interests in it, I don't think that the markets are going to dissolve anytime soon, which means that this is future proof. Other industries, I can't really say the same towards, because there is a lot of disruption and it's happening at lightning speeds. I was just watching the ChatGPT Loomis release, and how insanely intelligent the um, the mind is and how responsive it is, and it's wild how fast technology is moving. And something I've been talking about for a while. So markets are future proof. I would spend your time, effort, and energy focus on this environment. And if you want to learn from me, please do. I've gone through a lot so that you don't have to go through that, and you can fast track the process at least to get to some decent forecasting, and then get your trading experience in, while all the while getting closer and closer to be having something support you, such as the markets, whilst the world goes through a rapid change. And also, again, you live in a time now where you can build your own tools. You can be absolutely sovereign and independent. And that's really something to be quite excited about. So that's just something from a macro perspective, I do want to promote that element, guys. And of course, I'm here to do my best to guide you through as well. Here's again real life experience between having a demo account and what that's like, closing profitable trades, versus having a paid account or account with consequence. And this, what I mean by paid account is that with FTMO and other prop firms, you pay to take on a challenge. So that's kind of like the pay gate to separate the chance takers versus those who are serious. And once you pass the challenge, you get your money back. So yeah, it's kind of free, but not at the same time. You got to have the skill to win, and that's where the consequence thinking comes in. So I would be up a comfortable 1,500. I'm only up 200, which is not even worth me getting out of bed in the morning, to be quite frank. But that's because the psyche that changes when having open trades and such is what is the difference. But this does motivate me to develop for myself, to build bots and algorithms that support my style of trading, to prevent this kind of thing happening in the future. But my point being, where I'm trying to get to, and I know I've repeated it a few times, but it's very important to take in, I'm on the field. I'm doing it. This is live. I'm getting the experience. This is not a book. I'm not studying this. This is not a hypothetical or a one day. I'm on the field and I know what needs to be done. I know how to respond to the situations. And that's what I'm trying to get across to you guys. So if you are sitting on the sidelines or uncertain, the markets are future proof. They're going to be around. The sooner you master these, the sooner you have financial stability and security, and that'll benefit you in the years to come whilst all this change is unraveling. So that's it from me. I hope you guys have a great day further, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.